In development debates, we take a look at the future and present of China. Our debate topic today is the cost of sustainable buildings in China. Keqiang has been giving speeches highlighting sustainable growth, including one at the September 10th World Economic Forum. This typically refers to sustainable economic development involving interest rate liberalization, creating competition for state-owned industries, and making investment less of a priority. While these are keys to sustainable economic growth, there has also been interest expressed about sustainable buildings. A push towards growing the country green would mean major changes to the real estate market that has been responsible for paying off the massive debts of the Chinese government. A reliance on tax revenues from real estate has been especially important for provincial government debts, where it's the income source for over 50% of revenues. But when economists make their own predictions about growth and changes within China, they typically look at what the highest-ranking officials in the country are saying. So even though the changes will be dramatic, there is rationale for assuming that the real estate industry will be pushed from the top down to use these green building techniques. Jeffrey Sachs, the head of the Earth Institute at Columbia University, said that China's economic growth has given, quote, the chance for hundreds of millions of people to have their place under the sun, but then joked, quote, if they aren't completely smogged in or covered up by coal particulates. In this speech, he was referring to growth following Deng Xiaoping's policies, where China has been able to absorb technology at an unprecedented rate. Bringing in green building technology to China will be an important part of further technology absorption. One of the major obstacles in this challenge will be whether or not China will be able to push to develop this technology on its own, or if it will try to bring in already established companies from overseas. A buyout of a foreign company could make a hybrid option a possibility. Wang Youwei is a senior engineer and chairman of the China Green Building Council. He said, quote, at present, many core technologies for developing green buildings have not yet been grasped by China. For example, most key components, such as heat pump compressors, need to be imported. Industrial concentration is low, and enterprise scale is generally relatively small. New energy application in buildings still remains at the level of simple and direct use. And the in-depth use of the solar houses and solar heating air conditioners is very limited. Technical breakthroughs need to be made in the in-depth development and application. If China does make the technology required for green buildings readily available to its giant real estate development companies, many industries would be put at risk. These would include steel companies, architecture firms, and other companies not prepared to use green technologies. But many of these industries are already struggling, and quite a few are relying upon government support. Keqiang wants to move away from stimulus and instead, quote, adjust economic policy, increase deficits, and relax monetary policy. So this could be interpreted as meaning the government support for real estate developers who successfully implement green building techniques will be better off in the long run. While pushing for a greener economy will have many fans in theory, it might not win over everyone. This would especially go for those from at-risk industries and those who will have to take on greater costs because of the changes. Improvements in technology often require large investment and changes to material usage. According to 163.com, over a year ago, the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Housing and Urban Rural Development jointly issued a document putting forward a goal for China's green building development. That goal wasn't planned to be reached until 2020, though. So it was likely recognized that major obstacles need to be overcome before this can be a reality. According to industry insiders, the many changes involved in shifting China from its current building technologies to greener pastures would involve overcoming the following. The first challenge is to transform old buildings. It was noted that this has a long way to go, as social recognition is inadequate. The second challenge is to improve energy-saving standards with supporting policies. And the third challenge is to improve industrial technology, which is of insufficient support. This would require strengthening of the industrialization of construction. In order to overcome these challenges, Wang Youwei thinks that the technology gap needs to be reduced. With advances in the technology gap, the industries that would be put at risk might actually end up benefiting. This would be because the cost parity would still favor them until green technologies are adopted on a wide scale. The white paper on sustainability by Robert Cassidy says that, quote, green design mid-project can lead to added costs due to redesign and additional change orders. The challenges ahead of green buildings in China are enormous and have serious competition and doubters. But there seem to be people in powerful positions to influence its growth. Zhang Xiaoqiang, chairman of the NDRC, stresses the need for scientific urbanization that reflect green, intensive, smart, and low-carbon concepts. Support for green buildings is there. The question now is when it will come into play.